I'm Steve Morgan, founder of Cybersecurity Ventures and editor-in-chief at Cybercrime magazine. As part of our ongoing coverage on ransomware, we recently spoke to several top experts. But before we check in with the CISOs, we caught up with Javad Malik, lead security awareness advocate at KnowBe4.
Ransomware is the result of an organization being breached. So the question then really is like, how do we stop ransomware getting into an organization? And I think it goes back to three things: unpatched, vulnerable software that's internet facing, poor credentials, or social engineering. And if you focus on these three things, you make it so much harder for criminals to break in.
Ransomware is one of the most virulent and difficult security challenges modern organizations face. Causing severe financial losses, reputational damage, and operational disruptions, it stands as a stark reminder of the critical need for companies of all sizes to fortify their cybersecurity defenses. However, it is worth noting that ransomware did not always pose the extensive threat that it does today. Paul Connolly, former Chief Security Officer at HCA Healthcare, reminded us of this.
I can remember when it was just kind of an annoyance where maybe somebody would get an email that had an attachment and they'd get fooled into clicking on the link and it would encrypt their device. So the worst case scenario is you would lose whatever was on that device, or maybe you pay $200 to get the key. So to think how it's evolved into something that is such a serious threat, for us, it's all about the threat to operations and the threat to the trust of our patients if their personal information were to be disclosed. So it's become a huge business risk. It just seems like they continue to evolve, that it continues to get more and more serious.
As technology advances, so do the tricks used by cyber criminals. Ken Forster, former VP of IT Governance, Risk and Compliance at FleetCor, urges caution in light of the ever-changing threat landscape. Its complexity, he said, can lead even the most diligent individuals astray.
Phishing as the entry point for ransomware scares me because traditional stuff that we have been teaching people on how to catch and identify a phishing email, that's gone. AI has enabled that and democratized that to a point where it's easy for anybody to create a really almost hard to detect phishing email that can then lead to this, stolen credentials and ransomware attack, right, going forward.
For many businesses, it's not a matter of if they'll be hit by a ransomware attack or data breach, but when. The healthcare industry with its troves of sensitive data has become a prime target. Omar Khawaja, former CISO at Highmark Health, recognizes the critical need to avert such incidents, especially when so much is at stake. When we spoke to him in 2019, he emphasized the fundamental importance of employee training as a cornerstone of an effective cybersecurity strategy. That hasn't changed today.
It turns out that a lot of the basics that we think about in terms of security hygiene become all the more important. It is training people to not click on emails and open attachments that they can't absolutely trust, because typically that is the way that the ransomware makes its way into the environment and then it spreads. Making sure that your end users are trained on what to click on versus what not to click on and report, that's an important control. The other is making sure that our systems are adequately patched. How do we make sure we get to 100%? Because the thing that makes our field both challenging and nerve-wracking is anything less than 100% is just not good enough.
The fight against ransomware is far from over. In fact, the threat is poised to escalate in the coming years. Cybersecurity Ventures predicts that by 2031, a business, consumer, or device will fall victim to an attack every 2 seconds. Susan Koski is the CISO at PNC, one of the largest banks in the US. Seeing her fair share of cyber incidents, she knows all too well that this relentless escalation is fueled by one unyielding motive: to achieve the highest levels of financial extortion.
As far as ransomware, I think it's going to continue to be a problem as long as, people are paying and the criminals can monetize that. Because it went from give us money and we'll give you a way to decrypt your data. Then it went to give us money so we don't release your data. And even in some cases now it's give us money so we don't harass your executives to pay. When I talk to peers in this industry and outside industries, it's still an executive committee discussion, it's still a board discussion, and it's what do you do about it? How are you prepared for defending against it? And how are you prepared to recovering from it in the event it happens? And it goes from, are your backups vaulted? Are they immutable? And then are you regularly testing your ability to restore from those should the, unfortunate event happen?
For more information on ransomware, including the latest facts, figures, and statistics which convey the magnitude of the threat we're up against, visit ransomwarereport.com. This special production is sponsored by KnowBe4, the world's first and largest new school security awareness training and simulated phishing provider that helps you manage the ongoing problem of social engineering. To learn more about our sponsor KnowBe4, visit knowbe4.com.